Good morning, and thank you so much for inviting me IDFC, and thank you so much for so nice introduction. So just for housekeeping, I have a session which is about 50-55 minutes, and I've been told that we need to cover about 3 topics as she mentioned, which all the 3 topics were speculative in nature, and I'm going to add 2 more topics which are non-speculative, straightforward. So I understand there is interest in competition, especially the new competition. There is interest in M&A, spectrum trading on the regulatory front, and there is interest on the forthcoming auction. But you may continue to be focused on events which are not totally in control of any company. It's important to be able to weigh that against events which is completely in control of the company, which is the business performance. So I like to balance my speech and it's going to take me about 35 minutes between what is in the realm of possibility into the future versus what is it that is happening on the market front, on the voice side of the business, on the mobile data side of the business, and what is the potential of growth of the sector going forward, and what is the Achhe Din as being told by our Prime Minister arriving in the telecom sector. So I'll balance that versus the speculation that we talked about. So there is a presentation, I hope it is being displayed. First and foremost, this presentation is uploaded on our website. So it's very, anybody who wants to get all the nitty-gritties of the numbers that I'm going to present, all of this is available on the website. I urge you to please download for your So let me start there are multiple operators on Indian telecom. Idea Cellular from the very beginning, as early as 1997, was a pure play telecom operators, and fast forward to 2010, which is 13 in the first 13 years, it was not going anywhere in the business. It had a 3-way joint venture followed by single-way joint venture. It was a regional player, very small, and until we decided to become aggressive and go pan-India, and not only on the 2G but also on the 3G, and now recently on the 4G front, which takes and it's a story about Idea Cellular over the last 4 years, which is where the major interest is. So remember, this is a company which has done most of its events in the last 4 years. When Aditya Birla Group took charge in 2006, we did an IPO in 2007. At that point of time, we were about a 4 million company, and we have added 141 million subscribers in the last 7 years. We were a number 6 operator in India. We become a number 6 operator in the world in this period of last 7 years. And in most multipliers, in gross revenue, in EBITDA, in profit after tax, in gross block, all this we have grown in the 7-year period anywhere between 6 to 7 times. So it's that kind of levels the growth is happening. We have a CAGR from the time of our IPO. We have a CAGR of 29%, both on revenue and on EBITDA. And if you are to track all listed companies, I am not referring to telecom, all listed company on the stock exchange over a period of 7 years, okay, we are among the top 3. And in fact, we are the number 1. You can check this out, and even better than the last predecessor who talked about, in spite of the benefits he got from dollar depreciation. We are a completely domestic company which has delivered on a consistent 7-year basis EBITDA growth and revenue highest on the stock exchange. I'm not sure how many of you have ever registered this point, but that's not the story that we're talking about. The point everybody is talking about is what's happening on the industry, then what's happening on the competition, and what's happening on the regulatory. I'm going to cover that in a little more detail, but first and foremost, one needs to understand that there is a general sense, primarily driven by media and by analysts who like to speak of the latest and newest stuff, that the voice may be on the decline side, it is saturated, but India remains the last port of growth of voice business. It has currently a penetration out of 1.2 billion people, only 800 million people own a mobile services, and some of them own more than a single SIM card. So the penetration of India based on simple SIM card basis is 64.5 or 65% as we speak. And India is currently adding about 65 million subscribers on an annual basis. This 65 million subscribers contribute to 25% of the world's subscriber. That's the scale at which India is operating, and in the next 3 years it is expected almost 50% of world subscriber growth will come from India, because it is the laggard market. So let's not worry about what's happening in the other parts of the world, in Europe, in the United States, in Far East Asia, in developed worlds. It is India has its own dynamics and has rural penetration of only 44%, and there is going to be no individual on Indian earth with an age bracket of 10 to 70 who will not own a mobile phone 5 years down the line. Which is why would I say with confidence, because that's true irrespective of the income of the country. That has been true for all countries, and there is no reason why India will be exception. So the first and foremost, all of you have to realize there is a good and strong business potential for growth of business in the rural markets. The second big is comes to the newer business, which is where a lot of excitement is there. It is mobile data or accessing internet from the mobile, and the current penetration is 25% based on TR representation. Our assessment is actually it is lower because there is some over-reporting built into it. So at 25% and a growth of volume by 125% on an annual basis, powered by subscribers at 100%, there is so much more room for growth onto the second part of the business, the mobile internet. So this is one sector where we have to not worry about. You may be hearing in the last 2 days sectors which are currently going slow, or they are worried about what the economy is going to do, impact of inflation. None of that has any impact. Rains, monsoons, none of it. This is a sector which will continue to grow, in my own assessment, in the next 4 to 5 years, both in subscribers and volumes and ARPU. So this is a big projection that I am making. And in terms of mobile data, it's not only the growth. The current growth is mostly coming from 2G. 3G is just about tip of an iceberg, whereas about only 9% of a current 800 million subscriber base, about 70 million subscriber base use 3G. So the growth opportunity in 3G is going to be extremely large going forward. So would be on the 4G front. But we will discuss that going forward. I'll cover the competition regulatory as we go forward. This is one chart which really shows that the Idea Cellular was a company which was hardly there on the Indian telecom business till 2010, and it's a company which has just taken off from 2010. So most of our acts and activities has done. Just to give you a sense of what we've done from 2010 to 2014, one single event spectrum purchase. We've purchased 159.5 megahertz of spectrum for 21,000 crores in the last 4 years. That is one single event, and all of this we've done for internal accrual. You'll see our debt in 2010 was higher than the debt that we have in 2014. So at 21,000 crores, about a $3.5 billion worth of spectrum that we purchased, and we have made close to about $6 billion worth of capital investment. Okay, so all put together close to about $10 billion, out of which close to about $7.5 billion we've done in the last 4 years of investment, and all of this is internal accruals. So I'm not sure how much people have realized the quantum of investment and the change this company has gone through. So let me move to the reason why I be so bullish about the telecom sector. Telecom sector in the last 4-year period has been growing at a rate of about 10.7%. I'm assuming most of you are Indians, so I'm going to talk in crores. So from a quarterly size about 4 years back at 33,000 crores of sector revenue has gone to 45,000 crores. So broadly about 11,000 crores approximately has increased over the last 4 years in a quarterly revenue. And Idea Cellular, which is a company at about 4,500, 4,600 crores a quarter, has moved to 7,500 crores a quarter in the 4-year period. So we've increased by 3,000 crores, so 3 on 11,000 crores. So we have incrementally today about 26% of incremental revenue that comes into the in the telecom sector in a quarter comes to Idea, and when seen over a long period of 4 years, and I'm going to show you when seen on a shorter period, actually the numbers are even higher. That is the reason Idea continues to consolidate. We are growing at the pace of twice the pace of the industry if we remove ourselves. So it is because of us the industry grows at 10%. If our growth is removed, industry grows at 5%, and it's 2 times the pace at which we continue to grow industry, and we're doing that now not for a 1 year, 2 year, with 7 years consistently we've done that there, and that's the reason our revenue market share has gone up from 13.9 to 17.1. This to me is the most important chart, and this is most least understood. Investors continue to run after regulatory topics, competition topics, rate topics, but they don't realize the big potential that the country has, and that potential, and you're running after e-commerce companies, you're running after new growth industries. Telecom sector also belongs to very much the same side in terms of what is potential into the next 5 years. Reason I'm talking about it is the chart on the left hand side provides the subscriber growth. It shows that India today has 807 million subscribers, which shows the penetration 65%. Last year, India added 68 million subscribers against last year 40 million. So clearly a growth of 28 million subscribers in a 1 year period. Now let's look at Idea. In this whole domain, when in FY12, the industry was growing at 100 million. After that, there was and then there was unfiltered hyper competition, and in the hyper competition phase, Idea was delivering about 20% of subscriber growth. And in FY last year, when the industry grew by 68 million, Idea delivered 26% of incremental subscribers. And this year, though the numbers are available only for 5-month period, while the industry grew by 16 million for 5 months and easily will cross the 68 million assessment of last year, Idea is delivering 38% of incremental subscribers are coming to Idea. And the other good story is that even though we have been growing and leaps and bounds in terms of subscriber growth, on an average 18 to 20 million subscribers on a year-on-year basis, the quality of subscribers that we are adding is far superior to the quality of subscribers that we had in our list. This is very, very paradoxical as this, because our ARPU, our revenue per subscriber, in spite of such massive subscriber growth that we are doing, continues to increase, and we had a lowest in March 2012, and in the last quarter, from 160 rupees revenue per subscriber, it has gone up to 176 rupees revenue per subscriber. Obviously helped by right balanced growth from voice business and non-voice business. Moving on, this is my slide for competition. Obviously, you are aware in 2012, Supreme Court intervened, and there is still the newspapers talked about 2G scam. But the impact of that was cancellation of licenses for and re-auction of spectrum, and a lot of people who had license issued in 2008 left. That's why the number of operators in India went down from 249 to 171. And then there is now a fear that a new operator is going to come in. Now you have to distinguish between the two sets of operators. When we discuss 171, these operators are in the voice set of the business. Indian voice, broadly is currently a $30 billion or a 1,65,000 crores of market. At this point of time, 1,50,000 crore market in the voice mobility voice business, and the data business is 15,000 crores. Going forward, data business is expected to grow bigger. In the 1,60,000 crore market, there are 6 to 7 operators who are slugging it out to get their market share. In the data center market, which is currently 15,000, there are 3 operators, the top 3 of us, we primarily focused on it, and there will be sparingly 1 odd which is there. And there is a 4th operator which is planning to enter the market. So he is entering a market which is size of 15,000 crores, he is not affecting the 1,50,000 crore market. So first and foremost, this is a big fact, needs to be understood by one and all. So we are participating in 2 markets, and everybody sees this as a single homogeneous stuff. It is not homogeneous, it is diverse markets. We will continue to be able to grow and focus on the voice side of business, which is 1,50,000 crore, and try to improve our share in that. But also the high growth market, the data market, which has less competition. Even a new competition comes in, but the pace of growth that is expected to come in is of such a high order because penetration is extremely poor, which is currently at 25% on 2G plus 3G, on 3G at 10%, and is almost zero on a 4G front. So the growth potential is immense, and all of us will get their relevant share of the market. So don't have to worry. To give you a sense of why such confidence is there was a February 2014 auction that took place, and primarily it was a global auction, so anybody from the world could have participated, any Indian operator could have participated, but at the end of the day only 4 operators participated. The top 3 plus the 4th operator that we are discussing. And Idea acquired 20% of the spectrum that was on sale in the 1800 and 10% spectrum, which was not, which was basically a renewal spectrum. That's what we acquired. So on overall basis, Idea acquired almost a similar quantum of spectrum that was on sale with the top 4 operators or the 4 operators. We all got by and large within a vicinity of 10% variation around the same quantum of spectrum. So that's the way the operator, as operators, the market has been evolving. But we come back to the story a little while going forward. Let's look at consistently the impact. Why is revenue market share, why is subscriber share so critical? For us, this is a route for profitability. We are a very, very prudent company. We don't look at any other parameters other than the standard parameters of revenue, EBITDA and PAT and return ratios. That's simple, uncomplicated way we look. We don't complicate our minds with any other topics around. And if you look at revenue market share is critical for us because there is a direct linkage to EBITDA. And if you look at over the last 4 years, the company has improved its EBITDA margin from 26% to 33%. 7% or a 6.5% margin improvement over a period of 4 years. That has been there. So as we have moved from a 14% player to 17% player, it has a direct correlation of margin. What is a correlation? This is a business of scale. You put up a lot of capital investment upfront, and if you get scale, you will get margins. So remember, if you continue to get subscribers, you can be rest assured you're going to get scale. If you continue to get volume growth, it will all flow into EBITDA. So just remember that, and that remains the key critical success factor for this sector. Okay, that's the reason why we see on a competitive basis how have we done. This is a scale which provides all the people who've been in the business from quarter one of 2010, and over the 4-year period, you will notice there are 2 charts. One, Idea has improved its revenue market share 1% on a year-on-year basis over the last 4 years. That's that's why. And the second most important is incremental revenue market share. Over a period of 4 years from Q1 FY11 to Q1 FY15, we have incremental revenue market share is 24%, but over last 1 year, incremental revenue market share is 30%. And if you notice in the top 3 that earlier we were number 3 operator, we moved from number 6 to 5, 4, 3, which is on a pan-India basis, but now we're no more number 3, we're one among the 3 because incremental revenue market share, we deliver exactly the same number as a number 1 and a number 2 operator does. So we have to no more have to worry about are we number 3. Obviously there is legacy issues which cannot be undone and will be done as time passes by. What is making us one among the 3 operators is to be seen India not as a homogeneous country, but to be seen India as a very much heterogeneous markets. And we divided India into 3 big clusters. First cluster in the top half, which is colored on the map with yellow and green. Primarily this cluster constitutes to 40% of India. In 40% of India market, yellow dominates. Yellow is what? Idea. Idea dominates just 28% share. It is not one among the 3. It is numero uno into 40% India market, and we have on an incremental basis in this market we still deliver 41% revenue market share, and in all these markets we have got 2G, 3G and 4G other than one of the circles. So given that we have sufficient horsepower to take us into the next round. Even when the battle starts, we will continue to very confident to control 40% India market. The second cluster is the next 40% India market, where we are number 3, and currently we deliver 11.7% behind the number 1 and behind the number 2. But on incremental basis, we deliver 18%. Here is where the margin improvement happens. These are just about profitable circles, but their EBITDA margins are lower than the average. As the contribution from these increase, they deliver 40% of India revenue, the margin will improve. And the last category, and which is driving the voice rate down, is one of the topics which is there, is the new markets which we have acquired in 2012 after renewal of our licenses, which is shown in the color chart there. They represent 20% India market. Here idea is 4.5%. Here we are number 6, neither 1, neither 3, but actually number 6 on an overall basis. And they make an EBITDA loss of 165 to around that number on a quarterly basis. That's EBITDA loss there. And the reason is that currently our threshold is about 8 to 9% of overall revenue market share to reach. Currently, on incremental basis, we deliver around 11% incremental revenue market share. So you can do the calculation from 4.5 to 11%, which will take us some few more years till we start delivering some positive EBITDA from this. That's the reason of as the mix of these circles increase in our voice minutes rate get slightly affected on that. But we don't have to worry. Other big area of worry is spectrum, and this spectrum renewal, or how much will Idea spend? Will they spend 10, 15, 20, 25,000 crores? And people seem to be very, very worried about it. We don't have any sleepless nights and have zero worries about it, other than media and analysts have to worry. Why is that? This is simple, uncomplicated. This is a chart which shows that Idea has got 259.5 megahertz of spectrum. Out of 259.5 megahertz spectrum, 159.5 megahertz spectrum we have bought in the last 4 years and spent 21,000 crores. Okay, that represents 60% of the spectrum here has been bought, and it is already in our balance sheet. It is liberalized at a 20-year, about anywhere between 17 to 20-year lifespan. Number 2, that leaves us with 100 megahertz of spectrum, which is administered basis. If you were to look at all operators on Indian telecom, we have the lowest administered spectrum now in stock. Now the big worry is, yes, there is a spectrum auction which is coming up now, out of which 65 out of 100 megahertz is due for renewal for us. And it seems to be the higher than other parties. That is why people seem to be worried. But think about it. Once it's 65, and maybe I don't need 65, I'll take anywhere between 50 to 55 megahertz. Once it is done, I'm completely out of this hump for the next 20-year period, and I'll show you the balance sheet. So I don't know why people will be worried. This will be end of worries completely. So now there is a question that we do. You invest in new companies, in high-risk companies for growth, and we have an event which has happened there. You can continue to speculate on the event, and nobody can give a right answer on any event that could happen. But all I can say is the event passes, and Idea is completely out of this hump and completely nothing to worry. Now there is other projections that the numbers can be of a draconian basis. So for a number to happen, it is a zero-sum game. So the projection at current TRI recommendation, where Idea for this 65 megahertz has to spend 10 to 11,000 crore. Somebody says, what happens if it becomes 2 times? So when Idea spends 10 to 11,000 crore, industry spends 40,000 crores. When Idea spends 2 times the money, industry spends 80,000 crores. So if Idea spends 2 times the money, so does the industry. It's a zero-sum game. How does the industry get isolated from this? The question that I keep asking, that everybody is so bullish about it, who has got the funds? Show me who has got the balance sheet and the fund to be able to finance this for a renewal of spectrum, and then we will to further. So there is without an understanding of the financials of the sector and companies, people are making speculation, and there is no one can't go around answering speculations. So you have to make your own assessment, because if independently somebody says that an X operator has no renewal coming up, but he's going to disrupt. So obviously he's going to put some money, check his balance sheet and his ability to be able to finance at that level. But anyhow, it is for you to draw conclusions. It is for us to share information. Move on. Obviously, there is a upside available on our tower company, as you are very familiar that we own 16% of share in Indus, and this is the only, in our belief now, after Viom also is under such big struggle, the only serious telecom tower in India, as far as 16 circles are concerned. And we control 16% stake of that. We also have 9,500 towers. There is a lot of speculation of those towers. There is nothing else for us to add. We have no intentions to do anything at this point of time. We have no need for cash. IDFCs have been helping us with financing for almost 12-15 years. They've been wanting us to take money, but we have no need for cash. Somebody should tell us why we need cash and explain to us the cash required for this. Moving on to the important topic, which is mobile internet, and this is a critical topic. While India has 807 million, or this is information last available till March of 2014 of 791. Out of that, 230 the users, people who access internet are 250, but out of the 250 million subscribers, 233 million subscribers are accessing from their mobile. So the big question is, 233 million subscribers, average usage per subscriber is 1/4 the usage of Southeast Asia, and plus another 500 million subscribers are waiting to be connected. And with there is so much explosion on content side, on social media, on e-commerce, banking, as well as on education, and all of this gives us a huge amount of confidence that this is a market which is going to grow. And we've hardly seen anything. It's a tip of an iceberg. It will grow at a completely different level and scales. And we are confident to be able to capture, as we've done on voice, we'll capture the larger growth from this market. To give you a sense of what has happened over just last 1 year, our today Idea has, out of the 145 million or 30 million subscribers, about 21% of our base access internet from mobile. But the growth has been phenomenal, both in subscriber growth, but more from usage per subscriber. And volumes have grown. If you look at the chart on the right hand top side, volumes have grown by 126% from a 17 billion megabits to a 39 billion megabits. These volumes are at global scale levels. As I mentioned, we are the 6th largest operator in the world in terms of subscribers. We're 6th largest in terms of volume of minutes that get generated, 1.8 billion minutes a day. And we are currently the 9th largest to 10th largest, between the 9th and 10th largest in terms of volume of data, and we've just about started. So there is a huge belief that around the world, Idea Cellular would be, in the next 3 to 4 years, in the top 5 operators delivering data. That's the kind of volume that the company will be delivering. And if you look at the contribution of mobile internet on our ARPU is very significant. Given that we have only 20% subscribers, its ARPU has gone up in last 1 year. We're not discussing anything more than that. Gone up from 55 rupees ARPU to 120 rupees ARPU. So that's the kind of growth that is happening. The reason primarily is users per subscriber has been significantly improving, and after a fall of rate, it has been stable for the last 2 quarters. That's why the contribution of data has gone up to about 14% from earlier, about a year back, to 8.7% jumping, and non-voice contribution today has crossed the 20% mark. So this remains a key contributor. As far as rate is concerned, investors are very focused on rate realization. After a 4-year battle on rate, the rates from last year have started to go up. We had last year growth 7.3%, and currently we continue to have growth. Important is to look at not only rate, but look at margin of minutes available as spread. And if you look in FY11, the spread was 8.6 paisa per minute, and last quarter the spread has gone up to 13.6 paisa. So while our minutes have been growing by leaps and bounds, our spread for EBITDA has been improving, which is the reason why our EBITDA margin is improving. We are almost in the last 3-4 charts. just give you some more critical financial factors which you should focus on. One is minutes of usage. Even as we speak, while the industry is growing at a single digit number, our minutes continue to grow strong. And even last year we delivered 14.5%. On a CAGR basis, our minute continued to grow at 24%. Rate has been improving. Even between Q2 last year to this year, the rate has improved by 2.7%. Non-voice business has gone over the last 4 years from 12.5% to 21%. And we have been very aggressively investing in the marketplace. From a 60,000 or 66,000, we are about close to 130,000, double the number of cell sites in a 2G plus 3G put together. Instead of looking at annual figures, I look at over the last 4 years on quarterly basis, and you will notice our revenue where I talked about 7 years, but in 4 years the revenue has grown by 20% and our EBITDA has grown by 30%. So consistently over this, and even if I have to compare last year, Q2 FY14 was Q2 FY15, our revenue continued to grow by the same 20%, 19.7 to be precise. And while EBITDA has grown by 30%, even Q2 FY14 to Q2 FY15 is grown by 27%. That is the reason our cash profit has been jumping from a 7,780 crores to a nearly 2,000 crores in a quarter at 24%, and PAT, which was struggling because of huge costs below EBITDA, now has been jumping, and we've delivered a PAT on a 4-year basis at 43% growth, but over the preceding last year same quarter by 69% at 760 crores of PAT. That's why we are trending towards a 3,000 crore PAT based on these numbers. So that brings us to the second last slide of mine, which is based on this, what are return ratios. First and foremost, look at our investments. We have an overall investment of 58,000 crores, and remember, as I mentioned, the big thing is we've already spent 21,000 crores on spectrum, and our capital investment is 37,000 crores. But our capex to sales ratios has been steadily declining from its peak of 47% down to 13% in last year. We are now, it is no more decline will happen. It will stay at the current level of 13 to 14% growth. Free cash flows for an initial period when we were making huge investment, there was no free cash flows. We could not finance our capital, but we have now been financing our capital. In FY13, we put in 1120 crores. This last year we delivered 2,700 crores, and in the first half we already delivered 2,000 crores of free cash flows. Our net debt of EBITDA, wherever we raised higher debt, we've been able to, through our internal accruals, been able to generate currently at 12,000 crores, and there is nobody in the industry with a 2,50,000 crores which has anywhere debt at our levels. And it is net debt to EBITDA at 1.35. But if you look at the constituents of the debt, out of the 12,000 crores, 9,000 crores, I'm rounding it off for simplicity, are deferred payment to the government. And bank loans, foreign loans is as piddly as 3,300 crores. That's the current constituent of this. That's why our return ratio is improving. ROE is up to 14% from earlier level of 5%, and ROCE is at 9%. That's about it. Thank you so much, and all the best.
I think that was the most exhaustive presentation I've seen. I would like to leave the floor open for questions. See if anybody wants to ask any questions. So let me set the ball rolling. I have a couple of questions. First is, so I think you have brilliantly explained as to how the transition has been, and one of the things which probably I couldn't hear was, over the next 2-3 years, as you have the spectrum in place, how do you think you'll have to have the hardware in terms of what is the expected investments in that to build out your network?
So First and foremost, we are a huge believer in the potential of Indian telecom market. Belief number one is market currently growing in the last 4 years at 10%. Our assessment is its current contribution to the Indian economy is about 1.6%, which is lowest in the world and likely to touch about 2, and it will be 2 to 2%. So the growth of the industry will go up from a 10% level to anything higher than that. So obviously there will be need for capital investments to be able to capture this growth. Now our company last year has generated 8,200 crores of EBITDA, and as explained you for after covering our capex, we generated free cash flow of 2,500 crores. This year in the first half we have generated 5,000 crores of EBITDA, and while analysts have been very conservative, they finally struggled to be able to get the numbers right. Clearly, normally the second half is 55%. So there we would be tending towards a closer number, and maybe 10.5 to 11,000 crore EBITDA, and continue to grow at a 30% level. So we will have a sufficient and more cash available to be able to meet the needs of the market. And our assessment is the only renewal of our licenses, all the financing of that is being offered by government. Upfront money of between 25 to 33%, sufficient cash is available with the company to make the payment. So and that number will be number available as a free cash flows for the company to give. So no change is going to happen other than deferred payment, which is over a period of 10 years. So we'll have sufficient cash to be able to meet the growth objective of the market. Growth will continue to happen in rural markets. Growth will continue to happen in mobile internet market.
Thank you. Any questions? Anyone?
Data growth has surprised everyone, yet the pricing pressure is visible in the same. So can you just explain how you see the future evolution of data growth and pricing?
You are absolutely right. The current mood of the Indian telecom operators is to make sure that the large mass of Indians who are not currently accessing internet from their mobile change their habits. And a lot of effort in sales, in marketing is being done to be able to upgrade users and get him into habit of accessing internet. The natural methodology of that will start with the 2G. Is the 2G where networks have been improved significantly, so that the 2G speeds can improve on edge platform, and thereby a lot of trial packs are currently being offered. Think about trial packs being offered to millions of subscribers. We are discussing 20s and 30s of millions of subscribers for individual operators, so that people can experience internet, get used to accessing a Facebook or a WhatsApp or do any e-commerce transaction, so that in the long run they get used to this. This is a similar situation that was happening in the period 2004 to 2009, when we were doing the same thing to get people into the mobility space. So that's one of the reasons of huge trials and inducements to customers to enter the category. And this process will continue. The second area is obviously on the 3G front. The smartphones, which was very expensive at an earlier price point of 10,000 and above prices, have fallen below 5, and we are expecting to fall at the levels of 3,500 to 4,000. That's going to dramatically change the 800 million handset users, and it is our current assessment out of the 120 to 140 million handsets that is sold into the country. Only about 20 million was smartphones. This is going to change as the price falls below 3,500 to 4,000 rupees. And once that happens, the 3G usage will increase. We have been expanding furiously the 3G services. It was in the first half when we won the spectrum in 2010. For first 2 to 3 years, there was very little investment on 3G. The last 1 to 2 years, the top 3 operators are massively expanding 3G. Large capacities have been built up, but the potential for growth on 3G is immense. because only about 30% of the current base stations where we have our own spectrum has been upgraded to 3G, and another 70% of that will be done in the next 2 to 3 year time period. So the price pressure will be there, but the volume growth and revenue growth will remain unabated, at least for the next 3 to 4 year time period.
So there's one question for you.
Thank you for your comments. 2 questions. As India goes into 4G, could you just comment, please, on the technology difference that China and India is adopting versus what's available elsewhere? And the second question is, in terms of bypass risk, as far as OTT affects SMS messages and Wi-Fi, what does that mean for, whilst data usage may go up, what does that mean for the industry?
Sure. So, we are a strong believer in technology, first and foremost, but we believe the Indian telecom business is a laggard business, and you have to give it a time for it to reach at a price point where there can be affordabilities. Now, what is affordability topic? Affordability topic is on equipment, and affordability topic on devices, affordability topic of operators' ability to invest. These are 3 big, large-scale topics there. Now, that you asked me an example of China. Now, if you have to do charting, okay, forget any technology, just as you do in a stock market, do a charting of India versus China. India lags China by 4 years, consistently on a telecom basis. So whatever event that happens in China, it happens replicated in India after 4 years. If I have to talk about a period of 2004 to 2009, China was by and large the biggest subscriber growth market. India used to lag behind. It was at number 3. Then it beat the United States. Now it has beaten China because China has finished its penetration. It has a penetration currently close to about 90%. India has a penetration of 65%. That's why subscriber growth in India are better than China as the 2G front is concerned. China launched 3G about 5 years before India started. India has actually started while it's got spectrum about 4 years back. It's only about a year back India started making investment on 3G. And so China currently has out of close to 1.1 billion users. It has close to 600 plus million users on 3G. India has currently 70 million users on 3G. Having people tasted high speeds and then their demand for a larger quantity. The need for 4G came in for capacity, as well as they had a specific technology which is TD-CDMA technology, which was not a global standard technology, which forced them to get into 4G. But it is in the process of rolling out 4G. Currently, 4G subscribers are less than 0.5% of the total subscribers in China. In the next 5 years, it will make a big dent. Okay. After China makes successful, the device price, China drives the devices price down. Currently, devices prices for 4G is anywhere between 120 to 160 US dollars. We're expecting when there is going to be 3, 4, 500 million customers in China, okay, the devices price will come down to a level of 40 to 50 dollars. Then India will start to prosper. So China brings down equipment prices, China brings down device prices, China brings in scale. There is no other country in the world which brings in that scale which India requires, because it requires affordability and scale, and that only China drives it. So after China is successful, if China is successful 4G and has 400 million subscribers, then you can say India will have this. Before that, it is going to be a waste of time. People will be spending capital and get no success. We have a very strong opinion on that. As regards Wi-Fi and fixed line oriented technologies in the country has no fixed line penetration. There is no fixed line investments. It is the only country in the world, even Africa has got better fixed line than India has got. Okay, so there is no hope in hell for fixed line. There will be sporadic areas of Wi-Fi in the metros and in the top 6 towns, but this is a very large geography, and this geography is not going to have anything like Wi-Fi of significant scale unless large scale investments are going to happen on fiber and fixed line, which is unlikely to happen. There is no interest of telecom operators to do that. There is no cable industry, or there is even any desire for cable industry to come in this country. So FTTX, Wi-Fi will be good technology topics. People will talk about it. It will be a niche sector. It is not focused for companies who have mass scale business like ours, which is not move the needle for us. So we won't see that to be significant enough from this. So I hope this answers the question. There is OTT. Yes, currently non-voice, non-data business OTT is about 5%. SMS is about 3%. Natural expectation SMS will go down when Messenger becomes stronger, WhatsApp and all. But the dichotomy as far as the country is concerned, that even as we speak, only 40% Indians have ever sent a text in their life. So people will not jump technologies and straight away move from voice into a WhatsApp. They have to first understand how does a text per se works, how can you use your buttons to be able to type text, because there are language issues and other issues which are there. So there is a lot of people are entering as a lot of people are moving away from sending SMS. Another large base of people are entering the category, entering and sending SMS. That's why it just holds on. Though no growth is happening, the contribution of non-voice, non-data value-added services continues to be at the same pace. So the revenue growth happens, but the contribution percentage is not something. I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, I think just one very last question. We are running out of time.
Yeah, good morning, sir. My question is on voice realizations. Industry has seen some improvement in voice realizations over the last 12 to 15 months, largely because of the lower freebies and cannibalization of your promotional tariffs. What is your take on the same? And the second question would be on regulatory aspects. Again, after some improvement in FY 13-14, it is seeming to be turning the corner again. On key issues like M&A guidelines getting delayed, spectrum trading norms, and delay in the supply of spectrum, what is your take on this?
So as far as voice realization, it is one of the components that drive growth of voice minutes. The components of growth of voice minutes are subscribers, MOU per subscriber, and voice rate. Investors only want to focus on one element out of the three. We focus on all three elements. And for us, the balanced growth is a phenomena that we've set, and we maintained that balanced growth, and we're delivering that balanced growth. So on a voice business per se, we are delivering 13 to 14% growth on a consistent basis, and you can and confidence remains high in the near term that we'll continue to deliver that. Whether I can commit to you that the voice rate will not go down, it's not in any single operator's hand. The fact remains that there are still 5 to 6 operators, and there are pure voice play company operators like a Uninor and an Aircel and TTSL is the last leg of their survival, and then they have to take the call of this. And we will, but irrespective of whichever way happens, we will make sure that the overall voice revenue growth happens. The route could be rate, subscriber, or revenue per subscriber. As far as regulatory concerns, there is no doubt. We have to give this government a little time. It's very skeptical, as we've seen in coal, as we've seen in other parts of regulatory, while they make very strong statements. When it comes to nitty-gritties, okay, they become a little cagey about it, and because they're not as familiar. The talent, other than the number one person, the talent second line is very, very weak. So, so they are about still studying the whole thing. But we'll like to give them a time rather than try to rush to any conclusions. These are policies which have been recommended by regulators. M&A followed by spectrum trading, spectrum sharing. Inevitable, it will come up, but they have a short term. They are focused on short term rather than long term. If short term is revenue maximization through auction, we believe once this auction gets over, all these policies will hopefully be released. I hope I'll answer the question.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. I think we'll end this session, and thank you very much, Mr. Kapania. Thank you very for your time. It was really a very, very exhaustive meeting which we had with you.
Thank you, sir. We would like to